All right, Jerry, thank you very much. Here with head football coach Mark Helfrich as he has a little problem with the water here up front. But, it's a good feeling to have a problem with the water after a 45-20 victory over the Huskies, Coach. And I'll tell you what, a workmanlike effort by all phases of the game.
Yeah, just a big effort by everybody. Obviously, very proud of that part of it. Defensively, huge in the first half of containing them and to field goals, and the offense responding with touchdowns was the complementary nature of that was big. Didn't finish it exactly how we would have liked it, but really proud of our effort overall.
And offensively, to start the game, not the best field position in the world. I think your first 4 possessions inside your own 20, one of them at the 1, and yet you guys turned them into 3 touchdowns. Very efficient on offense in that first half.
Yeah, they had the better of us there for a little bit on special teams, but our guys responded in a big way. And 99-yard drives are fun. That was about a 99.9999-yard drive. But that was a big battle. Their special teams versus our special teams was a huge pivot point for us. And I think the defensive side played one of their most complete games, and we'll kind of look at the tape and see where that is, and make quick corrections and get ready to start pointing toward Cal.
To play clean as a team, and that was a real key. I mean, 7
Huge.
Penalties, 80 yards in the first half. Those are the type of things I know you as coaching staff want to avoid, but 1 penalty in the second half, no turnovers, 2 takeaways that ended up 14 points. All those things, another clean game.
Huge. Before when we talked about this last week of just their defense has been like just a constant highlight film of turnovers, not just turnovers, but scoring on defense. And so that was a tremendous challenge that our guys, again, in every phase, took to heart and went out and executed in a big way. Had a couple other, pick or tips or balls loose that we could have come up with, and we'll go back to work. But all that comes back to playing hard and running to the ball and finishing plays, and we're headed the right direction that way.
And it's defense. Boy, you got to take your hats off your defense. They really played a good game here tonight. 74 plays, but only 317 yards of total offense. That means Washington had to work for every little thing that they got.
Yeah, and that was big coming into it. Obviously wanted to put a ton on a young quarterback and try to force him to beat us. And I thought our guys did we were better. In some phases, still not great in others, and that's where we'll go back to again make those corrections in quick time. I don't know what we ended up third down defense wise, but I know they converted a bunch, and a lot of those were late. But team victory.
Last 2 games, no explosion plays, too, which is real key. Your defense, again, keeping things in front of you. UCLA last weekend, this weekend with Washington, too.
And that's huge. And, Hunley's going to get his yards, and Siler Miles is similar in a lot of ways as far as how we tried to contain him. But, yeah, if we make him earn whatever you just said as far as yards per play, that sounded pretty good. I didn't do the math very fast, but matter of just flipping the page on this one and moving on to Cal.
Offensively, 52 plays in the first half, which really wears down a defense. You talk about the defensive front for Washington, active. We're active again tonight early, but as you began to run more plays and grind it out, it seemed like it took the pressure off.
Yeah, that was, again, kind of part of our thinking. They play a ton of guys on defense in every phase of special teams, and so trying to wear them down on all fronts hopefully would prove to help us out in the end, and I think probably it did that a little bit. You didn't get my hint that was the last question when I said to move on to Cal.
I know, yeah. I kind of did get
These
that.
people have lives.
Yeah, but you're not going to get going yet here, quite yet. Carrington and Stanford, great contributions. 10 catches, 134 yards, and some spectacular catches by those guys tonight.
Yeah, big. Really proud of Darren Carrington. He's practiced a lot better the last couple weeks, starting to grow up a little bit. And, really happy that then shows up in the game. And Dwayne has been a guy who's been, in just kind of luck of the draw situations as far as getting the ball for a couple weeks. And that's how it's going to be sometimes in our offense is, a guy might be, featured a little bit differently or however defense decides to play us. Things may work out a little bit differently week to week, but he's been a key guy for us in a lot of other ways.
Move on to the Cal game real quick. 6 days to prepare. A little bit of a shorter week. How do you prepare for that?
Well, we're going to just work. Tomorrow is going to be kind of a combination Sunday, Monday, and get our guys healthy, rested, and mentally turn the page toward Monday, which will be a Tuesday, and so on as far as leading up to the game.
And an improved Cal team this year, too.
No question. I mean, they've been what was the final day? Was it 30? Lost by 1 or 2, and they've been, other than Washington, they've put yards and points up against everybody.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for your time after the game. 45-20 victory over Washington. 6-1 on the season, 3-1 the Pac-12. On the road next week at Cal. We'll talk to you down there.
All right, thanks, Jordy. Appreciate it.
All right, Jerry, back up to you.
All right, questions? Reminder, Coach, has also got his availability tomorrow at 5, so unless he says differently.
Yes, sir.
In the past, you said Royce Freeman has run kind of timidly. That's the thing that you've asked him to do differently. What do you think about him tonight? How would you describe that?
Better. You know, you saw some of his elusiveness that was kind of legendary there in fall camp, as far as he's a guy that can run through guys and a guy that can make people miss a little bit better than you think, almost. And he's starting to play free, you know, of thought and just letting his natural gifts take over. And up front, we're better. That's a really good defense, a really good team, and so, you know, we didn't probably have as many yards per carry as maybe we would have liked, but just what we were talking about with Georgie, it proved to help in the end.
Keeping the neighborhood over here.
Yeah, other than Royce, I mean, if you look at a lot of the other players, they just had outstanding games as playmakers. You know, Farrow and Byron, and then the two receivers, all of them made really nice plays. Was it just one of those nights, or was it, you know, getting the right perfect pass and getting at the perfect spot with the ball, or?
Combination of factors. You know, when you can run the ball, you can do anything, or at least you have the appearance of being able to run the ball. And the matchups, I thought the offensive staff did a great job of creating matchups, creating seams with the run game, and that poked open some big plays. But then also we had some guys make some plays on the ball, like you said, that, you know, Dwayne did some great things, Darren did some great things, and they'll do nothing but get better, because they're still, you know, Darren particularly is still playing with a little bit, you know, kind of the hesitancy of some of the young guys, but is starting to get over the hump and encouraged by that.
We're going to work right down the road to Horowitz.
Yeah, Mark.
You didn't sit in the second row, you can't ask a question.
You talked a little bit about it, but could you expand maybe a little bit on the 99-yard drive? I mean, is that the kind of drive that just takes so much out of the defense?
It's big. You know, that was certainly something when that happened. It's kind of like the weather, you know, it's perfect. It's great. You know, 99-yard drives are fun to be on the driving end of. And our guys took that challenge. We grounded out there early with Royce and a couple guys making some key blocks, and ended up, you know, scoring a touchdown.
Tyson, middle.
Can you expand a little bit on Darren growing up over the last couple of weeks? It seems like he's kind of been maybe his role seemed like it was kind of phased out a little bit since like the first week, and I don't think he touched the ball last week against UCLA, and obviously he had a great game today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody's phased out. You know, nobody's phased out. If they're off the team, they're phased out. But you know, guys in our system, again, that's one of the things in our system, like I was talking about with Georgie, is you know, we went through phases where it was kind of frustrating when, not you, but we'll use you as an example, would ask, you know, whatever, David Paulson had 200 yards receiving, and Michael James had 300 yards rushing, and Kenyon Barner had 300 yards, but what's wrong with Jeff Mayle? Why didn't Jeff Mayle have 3? You know, and there's one ball to go around, and our guys are starting to get that. And particularly for a young player, and I'm not singling out Darren, that's not really easy to understand, because in high school you just split out there and you threw it to him. What are we doing, coach? You know, and so that part of it is an ongoing deal for every young guy, and he's growing into the system, playing with more confidence. Coach Lubick's done a great job with that whole group of very, very, very young players.
In the back, Tom.
Mark, back here. Wanted to ask you about seeing Rich Brooks on the field in that 89 team. You know, a lot of people believe that late 80s is where it kind of all started. And did you have much interaction with them? And did your team get to interact with them? And what does all that mean to you?
That's the foundation. You know, it means everything. That whole phase, you know, of Rich Brooks and those teams, Bill Byrne, Dan Williams, all the foresight of the leadership that you know, took us into a new phase. That was huge, and those guys laid the foundation for all this to be this, and we'll never forget that. And I thought it was great. The honoring the 20th anniversary and all that is a, you know, kind of a a tipping point for the program maybe, or, you know, whatever the right phrase is, and we know that and we honor that all the time.
Behind the pole, AJ.
Coach, obviously, behind the pillar
location.
here.
Coach Frost is going to be in the back.
Obviously, you were able to establish the run today. Talk a little about the play of the offensive line and your early evaluation of those guys.
Well, against that front, to have that many yards, they had to do something right, and part of that, Coach Frost did a great job with the game plan and mixing things up, both run and pass, because you have to keep those guys on their toes. That front seven is outstanding. Their secondary is really good, and so trying to, again, be good on first down is key. Sometimes that's throwing it, sometimes that's running it, and to be ahead that way, it just gives you options. The offensive line is playing better, playing with a little chip on their shoulder and preparing that way as well, which is key.
In the middle, Steve. Mark.
Last 2 weeks, just kind of talk about the defense, what you've seen in terms of kind of kept two pretty good offenses really down, at least until your offense had kind of gotten enough points to kind of put the game out of reach.
Yeah, they're playing with, I think, more understanding, more belief. They're it's kind of like running as a hesitant tailback. You might get 2 yards instead of 5, but if you're a hesitant DB, that might be a touchdown versus a tackle for loss, or a touchdown versus a 6-yard gain. And all those guys understanding their role totally, playing fast, identifying things, and Coach Pelham and the defensive staff have they've all made great strides. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. And again, we'll go back to work on that tomorrow.
Third row, right side, Joseph.
Coach, Farrell Brown's had two, pretty big games in a row. He's also had 2 15-yard penalties, in as many games. What did you say to him after tonight's unsportsmanlike conduct? And,
Coached it, just like in UCLA. I thought that was, let's say we discussed that in a different way than we did tonight's call, without getting in trouble. He's grown up. That kid is a talented guy, phenomenally talented player. And when he gets it all together, it's really good. And, do we want a 15-yard penalty? Absolutely not. But we like the 60-yard play or whatever it was before that. And we'll coach both ends of it.
Back right.
Going back to the defense specifically, how would you evaluate the play of your safeties tonight?
Well, again, I think as a group, everybody played better, and just by virtue of the outcome and how things, they made them work for it. Without watching the film, I can't single that out. So you can ask me tomorrow night, and I'll have a better answer.
Right side.
Coach, Marcus again played well, but tonight it seemed you had that balance. Was it nice to see that you didn't have to kind of depend on him, to bail you out on some plays?
Absolutely, would be my first answer. I was trying to see what he finished, and so 24 of 33, 336 and 2 is okay, right? That's all right. And that's that's where he is, right? That's his expectation level. And that guy, again, did a great job of getting us in the right play a couple times. Made some unbelievable plays again with his feet that for most people is 2nd and 26. It's 2nd and 10. And that is a victory in itself sometimes. But we're all lucky to be able to watch that guy play every Saturday or Friday.
Jay?
2 quick ones. Did Rich Brooks address the team at all?
He didn't this week, but he has in the past. I love Coach Brooks to death.
Okay. And then back to the penalty on Farrow. Would you like to see some of the celebration rules relaxed a little bit at the college level?
No comment. And I mean, it's no.
According to the rule, but would you like to see the rule?
Well, they sometimes call them according to the rule, and we've had that discussion as well. The gray area in that is really gray. And this is a team sport. That's the biggest thing that we hammer home. One guy didn't make a play; he shouldn't spike the ball. Flip it to the official and go celebrate with the guys. Jake Fisher got taken out by Darren Carrington as they were both sprinting down there to create a block. Go celebrate with those guys, and that's how we'll address it.
Right over here in the front.
Talia has had 2 sacks 2 weeks in a row. What have you seen out of his development recently? Is it normal for JC guys to be about halfway through the season to start making an impact he's doing?
Well, hopefully you can push those guys to make an impact sooner, and I think part of it is the guys in front of him were playing pretty well, but his role will expand. His effort has always been good. He's been a great worker that way, and it's neat to see that rewarded on the field.
We're going to last question. Again, coach is available tomorrow at 5. So right here, Jake.
Coach, the run defense has really stiffened up the last couple of weeks. What do you attribute that to?
Well, it's always a combination of factors. It's the type of offense you may see. It's them playing better. more soundly, running to the ball better, tackling better, and all things that we can still improve upon. And so it's a a total group deal.
We're good. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.